The Gameforce is another retro handheld that seemingly came out of nowhere. It was over 6 months ago when Gao Feng, the man behind this handheld, revealed it to the world, back when RK3326 chips were somewhat in the middle of their lifeline, but after many chip shortages, the launch has been pushed back and is now somewhat late to the party. My name is Brandon and welcome to Retro Dodo. What we should mention in this review is that the Gameforce Handheld is made by one man, not a company like Anbernic or Powkiddy, just one guy with a true passion for handhelds. When our review unit arrived, we were shocked to see that there was no official packaging, nor was there any SD card ready for us to test. After heading to their website, it was then clear that they do not ship their products with any SD cards, no ROMs, nor any emulators. You have to do all of this yourself, which isn't a problem for us as we've done this a million times, but for newcomers to the scene this could make it an awkward experience and even put them off the handheld for good. Spec-wise, the Gameforce is rocking a quad-core 1.5GHz RK3326 CPU, a Mali G31 GPU, 1GB of RAM, a 3.4-inch TFT IPS screen with a resolution of 640x480, 3000 mAh battery capacity, Wi-Fi, and USB-C. That's nothing new compared to the retro handhelds we've seen come out of China over the last 12 to 18 months. However, the design and overall appearance is like nothing we've seen before, and the higher resolution screen is a very nice addition. It's gone for a beastly Game Boy Advance look, which we really like, and it comes in 3 different colors: milky, orange, and the green, which all have the ability to change the color of the LEDs behind the buttons. Due to the curved design and Game Boy Advance aesthetics, it's very comfortable to hold, and the shoulder buttons, even if they are terrible, are perfectly placed, making it a great sized handheld for adults. We like how they've kept all of the menu buttons towards the chin of the handheld, and the plastic used has this matte finish to it which hides fingerprints completely. But that's about it. After playing with it for a few days, we soon realized that it feels a little claustrophobic and, we hate to say it, tatty. The centralized screen has useless text around the borders, and it doesn't sit flush with the display, allowing you to see the green shell inside of the screen. The action buttons are loose, sit far from the contact, and are just generally small, making it easy to catch your thumbs when switching between A and B, for example. The D-pad is the opposite. It's very stiff with no real feedback. It sits directly on the contact, confusing us if we've pressed it or not. Moving down the handheld, you are greeted with 2 analog sticks which are very low quality, to a point where you can actually see the rubber coming off the sticks underneath. They're also very small and use cheap material which makes them somewhat slippery. And this is the reason we call the handheld claustrophobic, because the sticks have very little travel, making it feel like we're constantly bumping the sticks to the side walls, and teaming that with the tight, small action buttons and the incredibly fragile shoulder buttons, it makes everything feel a little bit out of sync. We push the D-pad hard, the action buttons deep, and a light fart would set off all of the shoulder buttons because they sit so close to the contact that we don't know whether or not we've pressed them. Oh, and don't get us started on the back. Why it has these flared legs, we do not know. It makes the Gameforce almost impossible to put into your pocket comfortably. The only feature that, alongside the design that makes this handheld enjoyable to play on, is the higher resolution display. It's crisp, sharp, has strong colors, and makes a big difference when playing retro games. It's actually going to be quite hard going back to a smaller resolution after reviewing the Gameforce. Now moving on to emulation, it's again pretty average. It's the same classic RK3326 chip that we've reviewed hundreds of times, so your old consoles like Game Boy, NES, SNES, Mega Drive and PS1 all work well on here. But once you move towards larger N64 games and PSP, this is when it will struggle and become near unplayable. It feels like we're being a little negative, and that's because we are. If you're joining the party late, you have to come with something new, and a higher resolution screen that we've seen in the RG351V just isn't enough for previous RK3326 customers to splash out on another handheld. Don't get us wrong, we love the way this thing looks. Heck, we'd even go as far as saying we prefer it to the RG351P appearance-wise. The speakers are loud, the battery life reasonable, it features a very sharp display, but that's all there is, really. We really think if they would have made the buttons all feel the same, added switch sticks, removed the awkward back bumps, replaced the shoulder buttons with higher quality flared designs, and sat the screen closer to the display, this could have been a really good handheld. It's just a shame that they've cut corners where they shouldn't and released the handheld 6 months too late. This is absolutely going in our collection, and if you're a retro handheld collector, this is probably one to pick up just for your collection in general, but it's hard to recommend this over older handhelds which are far more superior. It's just the screen which keeps this handheld afloat. We feel a little harsh in this review, and Gaofeng should be incredibly proud of what he has made. This is an impressive handheld made by one man. There's a lot of good features, and there's a lot of average features, but one thing we have to do here at Retro Dodo is keep the average consumer in mind when advising them on products to pick up. Should you buy this? Yes, if you don't have an RK3326 handheld, want a higher resolution screen, and love the beastly LED aesthetic, but no if you already have a handheld with the same chip. We all need to keep an eye on Gaofeng, because if he released it when he was meant to, before the shortages of chips, this would have been a product that directly competed with Anbernic, and that in itself is very impressive from one guy. We look forward to what he does next, and we hope this review gives him an insight on what things to tweak for his upcoming handheld should he make another one, because just imagine what he can do if he doesn't have a shortage of chips and releases a handheld at the right time. It's actually quite exciting what this man's doing, and we can't wait to see what he does next.